Hi and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Tuesday, July 5th, 2022, and the topic for the day is called Sky Story. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening June 10th through the 18th, 2022. This is show number 159, and yes, this does say July 4th down here. It's just when I thought I was going to record it, but it's July 5th. I am going kind of backtracking a bit in time just to kind of pick up some photos that quote unquote like fell between the cracks, because I put out my previous show shows clear evidence of a daytime UFO, and I wanted to put that to the fore, and that means that I didn't backtrack and pick up some of the other things, so I'm doing it now. Also, a little disclaimer: I am recording outside today, so you're going to hear maybe some loud voices, kids, people screaming, dogs barking, helicopters, planes, God knows what else. Just know they don't belong to me and they're beyond my control. So I hope it's at least entertaining if we hear anything in the background and not too distracting. Okay, all that said, the gist of this show, the theme is Sky Story, just because there is a lot of anomalies and strange things happening in our skies, and you kind of just wonder what's the story. So in this is a prime example. We got something curved going off in one direction. We've got these puffy, weird things with a different color signature happening along here in a line. And then we have something that could either be a portal or an object. We'll get to this later and break it down coming up in the show. Something that looks like an eagle with a halo over it, sitting on a golden orb. I mean, what's the story here? This collection of kind of like, it's like a haphazard collection of things all thrown in together in one scene. So we'll see. We'll look into it a little more, see what you think coming up. All right, here's an alternate cover slide, as I often like to do. Usually I'm on the fence of which image I want to lead with as the cover in the thumbnail. Anyway, this was a close second, so I love how this is like almost like a sky sail. And we've got some weird wave activity happening all around it. It's all fuzzy, and this is like slap up next to all these other clouds, which have a totally different character. And this thing was sailing along independently of all of these other clouds. So definitely a different object, something cloaking here. So we'll get to it, what that might be coming up as well. Now, before we jump into the sky observations portion of the show, I do have one Words, Wisdom, and Spirit of the Day page this time around. And instead of sitting here and breaking down the symbolisms and potential things going on in here, I invite you just to take a look at this image and just see if anything in particular jumps out to you. So we have the numbers 7, the words treasure, a golden harp, a lot of gold colors going on. We have the fox, which is a reddish orange color. Keep in mind they're also silver foxes. Or silver gray. So just see if anything jumps out. For me personally, the harp kind of really came to the fore on my little radar, because I actually did see a very ornate harp just a few days ago. It was very unexpected, and I know people say random, but really random means coincidence in quotes. But so for me, that just jumped out right away. But see what works on this for you, if there's any message that you're supposed to get. These images come from a playing card game called The Fox and the Forest by Joshua Buergel. I have never played it yet. I picked this game up. It just seemed interesting. Apparently you get penalized if you are too greedy and collect too many points, so I'm not really sure how that game's going to work, but we'll check it out. Anyhow, I hope you find some little messages or meanings that help you along with your day. Otherwise, we're going to jump into sky observations now. All right, so all of these images are going to be taken from scenes happening up in the skies of Miami, over Miami, Florida. It is a subtropical to tropical climate. I'm very familiar with this area for decades upon decades, so what I'm calling anomalous, I do have a little bit of context, for calling it that. So I do just point out strange things, oddities, anomalies happening in the skies today, and especially ramped up, I would say, since 2018. With some really also overall significant changes happening as early as 2010, 2012. Anyway, for anyone who is new, first of all, welcome to whether you're new or returning to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by here. This is going to be not a part one, but I have a back-to-back show lined up for today. So this is number 159. Show number 160 is coming on the heels of this one, just so you know, as a little heads up. And anyhow, what I do is, for anyone who is new, I'll make this real short. If you're returning, I don't want to bore you to death. But if you're new, I take a photo like this, noting some anomalous things happening in the skies, and then I enhance it, which looks like this. So I just take the original photo and I edit attributes of it, such as brightness, color saturation, contrast, maybe temperature and sharpness, and that's it. Just to better highlight what might be going on a little bit deeper, beyond the human eye range. So these digital cameras, I just use a camera phone, really old Android one, or a slightly newer Android one, but anyway, point is they have a better photo and light sensitivity than our human range right now, and so they can capture things like this when you tweak it, tweak the levels on the actual photo attributes. All right, that being said, here this looks, very triangular in form. It looks like it's maybe partially cloaked or like half disintegrated. I think it's just diving down into some thicker cloak right here. But the point is we have a very straight line and a geometric form of a triangle, which almost looks like it descended down from whatever this is, because we have kind of like that outline, like a jigsaw puzzle effect, more or less. Now, also, this whole mass is strange, not only in color signature, because we have different ones happening all around it. Even here, this looks like a cloak and craft. But we've got this really straight line here, sharp, straight lines, edges here. So to me, this is very anomalous, and it's, to me, seems like there's a lot of cloaking craft activity going on in here. We're going to move along to looking to the northeast toward the evening. And what jumped out at me, obviously, was this D, letter D here. Now, at first, I thought, oh, we've got another triangular shape. Look at that. But we're going to see coming up that this actually might be a part of a bigger curve arcing through, and that this might be just a little piece that we're witnessing as a part of a much bigger cloak and craft form. And I do talk about that in my shows, that sometimes it's easy to get lost in some details that pop up. Some even look like cannons or pieces and parts and pieces of actual ships cloaking. And then sometimes it's easy to get lost in, wait a minute, is that the whole craft, or is that just like on the observation deck of a huge craft? So we got to look at scale, overall scale. And as I always say, I am narrating this show on a laptop screen, which is in a slightly bigger scale. But if you have a handheld device, such as a camera phone or whatever, you're going to see the whole format in like a thumbnail, more of a thumbnail scale. And depending on how I would narrate the show, we'd get a very different show. So you're going to get just one run through on it and insights based on a laptop size screen. And if I did this on a smaller format, I'd see different things popping out. And so I like to say, if you have the benefit of having both a larger screen and a thumbnail screen, and you can put it in front of you as you watch the show and toggle your view up and down between the two screens, or side by side, however you want to do it, you'll start to see a lot of different things pop out. So I'm only going to touch on a few things that catch my interest or really pop out at me, but see what pops out at you. And if you have any ideas of what could be going on that I haven't addressed, or, they come to you, feel free to leave them in the comment section below if you like. All right, so back to this. So D, I thought, oh, we've got, a symmetrical shape going on here. And as I said, again, it might be just one little piece of something bigger. So with some enhancement, that really does pop out. And then we see how this is the same darkness as this. And then we see some like triangular shapes up here. Actually, we even see one here on angle, a triangular form. So to me, there is a lot of cloak and craft hiding in here. We're going to zoom in on just that D piece. Again, I was thinking, oh, this is a standalone piece, right? And we see different shadows and edges. We even see some angles in here. So this whole sky felt riddled with, cloak and craft activity. So then we're going to zoom back out a bit more, and we're still looking at D, but now D is starting to seem to be a part of a bigger form or bigger something happening around here. At the same time, keep in mind we're looking due north when it's later in the evening, and then we get this blast of like brighter color. So that shouldn't happen right there in that portion of the sky either. So I'm going to show you where I see this bigger form, and I just overlay some crude sketch marks just so you can see maybe what I'm seeing. So I'm going to go back a second. So just watch the right hand side of the screen so you can see. I'm going to just toggle back and forth. That's where I see where there might be a bigger object here at D. And then I see a separate object which might be in the foreground as F.2. It just seemed like I could trace some very deliberate lines there. So I think that we could have an object in front of another object going on there. But again, see what you think. Look at this show in your leisure when it plays back, when it's not live premiering. And feel free to, root around and see what more you can see in any given slide here. All right, now we're looking northwest. And I noticed right here at B, it seemed like a pointed ellipse. Seemed like at A there was like a triangular form hiding in his heavy cloak here. So we look to the right, and with some enhancement, kind of see that form a little more at A. Still see this pointed ellipse, very weird the way it's presenting. It's almost like translucent, transparent, just see with the edges showing. And so we're going to look at it with, jumped ahead too fast. We're going to look at it with a little more, with some sketch lines, just so you might see better what I'm seeing. And I'm going to go back a second. Keep your focus on the right-hand side of the screen, just to see better maybe what I'm seeing if you didn't see it already. And one more time. There we go. That's what I see. There's a bunch more happening in this scene as well. Got straight edges here. That almost could be another triangular form echoing, past this one. But see what you see. All right, we're looking at it one more time, just with slightly different color tonality. Just maybe we can see things in a different way, between warm tone to a cooler blue tone now. But again, we're going to be looking at A and B, and this is what I see. That's what I see happening in there. So see what you see as well. Okay. Now this was a very intriguing scene, looking to the south-southeast in the afternoon. And I have masked out just street signs, and I don't want to tout logos for brands for companies, so I've masked them out. But otherwise, it's the original photo. But this just looked very odd. Again, I'm very familiar with this part of the world over this city, and this whole system didn't even look like real cloud, looked like very artificial, to the point where we have a notch out, like a specific geometries happening over here at the edge, at the fringe of this thing. And this thing like dove down bulbous, like really, really low in the sky. Once again, the altitude of some of this stuff is just extremely, insanely low. And then we just have this deluge of straight downpour. Now that would not be atypical over the skies of Miami. However, the clouds above it here very much are. So we're just going to look at the elements of A, B, and C on this one. So breaking it down, here you see this notch out? That's so perfect. It's such straight edges. So to me, this is like cloak and craft sitting here, clinging in the rim of this stuff, descending. And then at B.1, how is everything darker, darker tonal ranges, and then this is like pure white, and there's no sun right here. We see other sun effect, filtering down here, but nothing like a burst of it right here. So that's also anomalous. And so it's looking like the shape of a craft, like an ellipsoidal craft. We'll look at it again in a minute. And then here we have these really straight edges. Now I know there are power lines strewn across the screen here, but these are parallel, straight lines. That's also anomalous. There are two little points over here that's looking like, again, part of a craft or machine parts poking out of the scene. Anyway, this is pure white, and this has a little bit of a warmer cast to the light. So we're going to look in at B.1. Here we are at B.2. We see like a little object in here. So it almost looks like this is an object with a little bit of a force field around it, or cloaking material. Then we look at 8.2, and we really see this notch out, really strange. No natural cloud forms like that at the perimeter. And then we have the warmer tone here, opposed to this brighter white light. Anyway, we'll move along, looking at it. And also in that cloud mass, just a different enhancement. We look at an object, coming straight across. Remember, the overall cloud, quote-unquote artificial cloud-looking forms were like moving kind of bulbous this way and had different forms. They weren't coming dead level across. So to me, this is absolutely some type of craft floating in there with cloak. Then we get to look just to the left of the overall downpour where we were. And there's a really bright point over here. So remember, this is now looking over toward the east. And it's really like 1:30, where the sun would be directly overhead. And then at C, we get a standalone weird cloud form, which I suspected had to be some type of cloak and craft as well. So when we do enhancement, we start to see like a beam of light coming out of this source. So this says this is no longer just ambient level of light going on in the background in the sky. This is a point source of light, like an energy ball. And we see it more drastically here. So look at that. There's a path of light, illumination coming out of this thing. So I'm going to say that's a cloak and craft, and then at C.2 as well, just because this is a standalone shape. None of the other clouds look like this in the area, and so that's why I say that's anomalous and is very likely cloak and craft as well. There's something weird, too, happening over in here. Looks like a dark object with some Cloaking material. I know the word is wafting, but I have to say wafting. It's just built in me. I got to say wafting over this. Okay. All right. So now we're going to look at a different scene, a different part of town. This is looking east-southeast up. And again, there's like a sun source. Looks very artificial, white and glaring. But then we have this thing. Look at it. It's blurred out, even to the naked eye. Very blurred, and looks like it's like a morphing piece of metal or something in cloak, while all the other cloud types immediately adjacent all over the place look nothing like that. And it was moving independently across as everything else stayed stationary. So, of course, you got to keep an eye on that. And, of course, it's anomalous. So we look at it with some enhancement, and we just still really pick out the blurry nature of this thing compared to everything else. We're going to zoom in one more time on it, and it was a little, there's so much hazy particulate around it, hard to really pull out anything, but the fact that it is so hazy while everything else around it is not is very telling. What it is exactly, I don't know. I can only say it's a cloaking craft or cloaking entity of some type. All right, now we're going to look west and up. And here, actually, when I get to the enhancement, it didn't really pull it out any better, so I'm going to just call it out here. Here, it just seems like I see the edge of a curve, like there could be some type of planetary body, whether it's artificial or organic, sitting right behind here. But again, I can't really pull it out. It's just a feeling I get, and because I see this strong curve here, I think that might be happening. But anyway, regardless, this is just a white and glaring, once again, very artificial feeling and looking sun. And look at straight edge here, straight edge here. Again, that's not a typical cloud form. It's not a natural cloud form in this area of the world. And it even seems like there's a triangular form here cloaking. So I'm going to say there's some type of tech or craft creating these straight edges, coincidentally in quotes, right in front of the sun area. Also, there's a weird shape happening down here. Another triangular form here if you follow my cursor. So a lot of strange activity. Plus it just felt weird, which is a big tell. Here too, B.1, look, we got a straight edge, a point of a triangle on angle sticking out of this thing. So I'm going to say there's craft sitting on the rim, as I've documented in other shows how that happens. Very clear examples. If you just go a few shows back, you see that rainbow craft perched perfectly on the rim of these quote-unquote clouds, which to me are artificial cloud cover to cloak stuff in many cases. Here we have something also pointy, kind of looks like in transition of cloaking, standing out on an angle, just really strange. See what you see in this scene. We're going to look at this one more time. So here again, 8.2 over here, it just looks like a ball. So it looks like a planetary body with maybe craters in it to me. Again, on the right-hand side with enhancement, it doesn't come up too clear, but it's clear to me that we have a straight edge, very unnatural, and a clear ball, like spherical form happening beyond it. All right, now we're going to get to our little sail. So I can't remember if, when looking at it, if that thing we just saw earlier that looked like a morphing, molten, fuzzy metal piece, if that was this same thing or if this is yet a different thing coming along after it. But regardless, we've got this fuzzy shape now in a right angle triangular form, more or less, with some wave activity coming off of it. So you see that in B.1. Again, nothing else around here looks like this. It's doing its own thing. And even up here we get some curious dark imprints, with really straight edges happening. Not sure what's going on there. But we're going to keep looking at this thing at A. So now as it moves into the scene here, we see again a dark imprint of a triangular shape. There's a point with a straight edge. And then if you look at this as a bigger overall thing, this is a bigger overall triangle, or it even goes down to here. So it's either multiple triangles cloaking in this mess, or one larger one, hard to say. But this thing gets more and more curious the more enhancement we put on it. And look at this cutout form of like some flattened star. Really strange. With an echoing corner back here, another triangular form hiding there, and one in the front here. Anyway, we start to see these waves, and now we even start to see a little bit of structure here, like a hole in it. It's really bizarre, so we'll look at it one more time, and now it morphs back out, flattened, but we still are seeing these shimmer waves. They're either, is it electromagnetic wave activity shooting out of here, or some other sonic disturbance, or heat wave generated off of whatever's powering this thing. I'm not sure. See what you think, though. It's very fascinating. And back here, there's some kind of spherical thing, too, forming. I don't think that's a lens flare. It's possible, but I really don't think so. All right, now we're looking to the north, and this caught my attention because it was almost like an infinity sign or like a kidney-shaped pool stretched out, elongated. Really weird though, kind of like a figure eight, whatever you want to call it. And then this weird little thing coming down, and then a straight edge here again. So we look to the right with enhancement. And this story, what's this sky story? It gets really interesting. So we have kind of a partial ring maybe, or a tube showing up over here, a curve. And it looks like something's shooting out of it or next to it. Look at this thing diving down. This one looks very ghost-like, whatever that thing is. Like a supernatural intelligence or something. But then what the heck is this thing? That's no natural forming cloud. And then this thing too, all in the same proximity. While we have this straight edge going on back here, and these weird, look at this cutout here. What the heck is going on? And this thing, it's all very strange. So we use some enhancement to look at that figure eight. I'll just call it, what the heck is this? It's something that looks like it's maybe coming in and out of cloak, or is it like two holes and this thing's like flying out of, or like a weird figure eight shaped hole and this thing is flying out of some kind of void or vortex? I don't know. But see what you think. It's, to me, very curious that this carries a strong greenish signature with some highlights, burn spots in it of white or cyan. Well, this is all pronounced cyan. This also has a little bit greenish character. So I don't know on this one. I'm a little on the fence if this is a void or if this is a craft, solid shape. See what you think. All right, now we're going to look at this scene. I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the enhancement, because what caught my attention was really B, that this looked like a huge triangular form in the sky. And you can still see it goes up at the peak, comes down more or less a straight edge. And then I started to see weird things kind of floating. This is coming up and down. This is going across. This is on an angle. So again, no natural clouds could do that, in the skies of yore, let's just say. You would normally just have cumulus clouds floating in this area, and they would move across very predictably, or maybe rise up if they started to form a thunderhead or an anvil-shaped cloud, but that would be really massive. But in no way, shape, or form would you have local cloud activity that can go horizontal, vertical, and an angle all in the same vicinity. So that's why I say there's cloak and craft. And then look at that. When we put more enhancement on it, that's clearly some type of symmetrical craft. Sorry for the voice crack. Symmetrical craft form, like a little dart or arrow tip. And then here, look at down here. We have a very straight edge. Almost looks like a cannon peeking out, poking out of some cloaking material. Like this overall thing, if you follow my cursor, at this point would be the bow of a ship, with a cannon, or maybe this shoots out the artificial cloud around it to cloak. I don't know. This looks like weaponry to me, though. And then this would be going up to the bridge or the observation deck, captain's deck, whatever. Anyway, we're going to move along, look at it with slightly different format, and here we go. Still looks like a craft or a missile or something weaponry shooting off at this angle. And then this looks like some type of cannon coming straight across. At the same time, we have weird shapes, very rigid shapes happening down here at D3, like a curved pipe or something. We're going to zoom in. Here's that thing I was just calling like a cannon. It looks like it has an opening at the end of it. It actually looks like something is coming out of it level right now, too, in this moment of this frame. And then again, what the heck is that? That's not a cloud. A cloud would not have a piece of it shooting off at a sharp angle while something's sticking out level. And then this is a clear triangular form here at the very, what we'll just say, front. So whether this is part of the overall huge craft or this is just some other little craft docking onto it, who knows? Looks like there's cloaking material, kind of drooping, wafting around it. See what you think. All right, now we're going to look over to the west, and these just looked weird at A and B. They had their own little patterns going on. While we have really dark gray clouds, these are pure white. And then, again, they're insanely low in the sky. So we zoom in, and then I start to even see a triangular form at C.2. So with enhancement, you see C.3, that triangle stands out. Anyway, it was just odd. We look at it, C4, triangular form with something else really strange happening here. No cloud form have I ever seen do that before, the natural cloud. Okay, now we're looking north at 7:30 in the evening. And this becomes the original of the cover slide we have today. So to me, I was just seeing all this different patterning. So things with different trajectories and forms. So how do we have a pure arc like this at sea? Well, we have stuff moving up vertical at the same time on angle, and all this weird little disturbance. And again, in this area of the country, And actually on this particular day, there was no wind moving around. It was actually pretty still. And so there's no explanation of what natural could be causing all this disturbance. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. And so, of course, we're going to look at this with some enhancement. Also, look here, too. We got a little bit of gold here popping up in these cloud forms. While everything else is pure white, that also doesn't make sense when it's all in the same vicinity. Also, all of this is insanely low in the sky. Whoa, I jumped too fast, sorry. So here we go. Now, to me, this looks like an eagle with the wings on the back, eagle looking off this way. Looks like a weird, halo hovered over it while it's sitting on a golden orb. And this looks like to me like an abstract black dove diving down or something. Again, question mark, is this a void or is it a solid? We'll look in a minute. And then we get this red-orange signature, gold signature, and this is in a straight line. So why the discrepancy? How is something more orange and red and another one goes more golden if they're not two different cloak and craft with their own energy sources, creating that cast or that heat or energy signature of some kind. Anyway, we're going to look at this with a little more enhancement in different ways. So this is highly exaggerated with the contrast and stuff, just to really get at what's going on with this thing. So when we do that, this is looking to me more like a solid and not a void, especially down at this piece over here, if you follow my cursor. And then that eagle, look how white it turns, while the orb it was sitting on is pure yellow. And then we come over here, and that other object is yellow, but also has a much warmer tone in it. The red, pops up. And then that halo thing falls in that color signature. So what is the story? What is going on here? Oh, that was it. So I'll leave that to you to wonder what is going on. Jury's out on that for me. I'm not sure, but I'll go back one. I love it as an image, though. Just kind of like this eagle and, sitting there. I don't know. I like it compositionally, but I cannot tell you what the heck is going on. Like, is this a missile or a rocket shooting out that way at something? I don't know. See what you think. All right, now we're going to look east-southeast later, almost toward 9 at night. And I was watching this moon. Okay, it was near full moon. And just there was weird clouds coming in. And look at these weird little bits happening around the moon. Those aren't natural clouds. And so we go with enhancement, and then look, we start to see, yet again, a triangular form sitting in that cloud right there. And then we got different color signatures where that gets like a reddish raspberry, and we got gold colors down here. So we're going to zoom in, and here's that triangle. Look at that sitting in there. And actually, this has been happening a lot lately. If you look at some of the covers on my other shows, the one that was called Sky Hiking, where there's a triangle just kind of like hitchhiking in the cloud. So we have it here again. Also, look here. This looks like an imprint, like a darker imprint of a triangle. We got a very straight edge here. Looks like a point over here. A lot of weird stuff happening in here. So look at 8.2. I'm going to show you with a sketch line, that little triangle, just in case you can't see it. There it is. I'm going to go back. There it is. Okay. All right. Now, let's move along. Here's that moon itself. It just was really strange. Everything about it felt really strange, but mainly I'm showing this because of these fragments of weird supposedly clouds. But when you look to the right, to me, these are just the formings of cloak on some type of craft, because normal clouds don't form like this. These little bits and fragments and moving in different directions and shapes. And anyway, we'll get back to that in a minute, I think. Here, this is an actual fuzzy, blurry photo. You can see it, the trees, everything on this thing is blurry. But what I wanted to show about it is this shape and just how weird it is sitting in the sky. This whole collection, actually. So with enhancement, we just really see what an odd man out, so to speak, that thing is, and not natural in any way, shape, or form. And how solid it looks like with like perimeter, cloaking material going on around it. Looks like something else is shooting off of it. Just really strange. And on top of it, again, we get that white artificial glare of what's supposed to be the sun. Looks like it's masking out more of our original sun color happening beyond it with the warmer tones. So like this glare ball artificial sun is in the front, and our original sun is in the back. And also maybe this red-pink signature could also be a planetary body being concealed by this artificial tech of this artificial sun, the white out of it. Do look at the description box below of all the different things that this reddish pink kind of signature in the sky could be. All right, now we're going to get back to our curious moon with the even more curious quote-unquote cloud shapes, which are artificial cloud or ships cloaking something. You'll see what I mean in a minute, because now, I'm trying to get my cursor, here we go. Because now, look at this. I've never seen a cloud have a vertical, go across horizontal, and come back up vertical. But yet, this one's doing it. And then we get this really odd cloud kind of coming in on the scene, coincidentally, right headed straight for the moon. So we look to the right, and again, we just see what a weird cloud form this is, sitting over this with a distinct piece happening above it that looks very much like a craft. 8.1 looks like a cloaking craft coming in with an opening at the end of it. The whole scene's just really strange. So we'll look at it again now, zoomed in on those weird, look at this, weird, quote-unquote clouds. Vertical, horizontal, vertical. No. That just doesn't happen with natural clouds. Look to the right, actually. You see it even better, okay? And then we've got like triangles hidden in here, triangular forms. So to me, hey, we've got craft coming in, trying to obscure the view of what would have been the full moon, or nearly full moon. Then we look at B.1, we've got a rigid piece here with a straight edge, and a stick coming down this way, and it's a piece going in the opposite angle. Again, when you look at the energetics of this, we've got something moving either up or down. It looks like up on that left side, and going up to the right on the right side. This looks like a symmetrical form with a little dome piece or sphere in the middle with two triangular edges or wings here. So I'm going to say once again, this is laden with cloaking craft, and for some reason they're trying to obscure the view, a clear shot or view of the near full moon, or full moon. I can't remember. It was either full moon or near full moon that day. All right, so now with more extreme contrast, I'm doing this to get at the part above, the piece above at 8.2. We have a downturned triangular form. We have another triangle happening over here, and a weird standalone piece over here that looks like instrumentation of some type, because it has a symmetrical, like two stick legs or something with an oval. Anyway, see what you see in this crazy scene. I'm going to just say, though, it's got tech all over the place in there, hiding, cloaking, and we're dealing with some engineered elements. And we're just going to look at this one more time to better pull out 8.3, just so you can see the outline of this symmetrical shape sitting there. All right, now we're going to look to a heavily particulated, if that's a verb, sky, very dense with particulate. And but just what caught my attention here was that this was a standalone something or other, not a cloud really. And then we had these little weird bits also moving in clusters and in different angles. Just felt very artificial. So we looked to the right, and to me this is a cloaking craft on angle with some like cloaking material happening in front of it. And we have a triangular form free and clear here at 8.1. And then we'll zoom in just on that one. See, this looks like, you see half of, if you can imagine, a disc-like or saucer-like shaped craft on angle in dense particulate, like being in a fog, with additionally with its cloaking material happening on half of it over here. That's what I see. See what you see? Oh, and down here at C.2 is looking like another craft. And then nearby 2, look at this. This is going on line this way. This is parallel. Something else looks like it's being cloaked here. So at first I thought, what caught my attention really was C, because it looked like a triangular, dark triangular shape, filled in shape. And I thought, oh, we've got all these little standalone craft going on. But the more I looked at B, this looks like one bigger craft, and you're going to see what I mean in a second. So see all this dark, like straight line again, that's a triangular form. That's engineered, symmetrical, no question about it. So at first I thought these were standalone pieces, but now imagine this whole thing as one bigger craft, and this is a separate one above it, and this is what you get. So to me, B.2, these are like the wings, symmetrical on each side, with a point, maybe the bow of this ship over here. We might be looking at it from like overhead, like this is on angle to us. And that this is just cloaking material coming across the top of it. So, and that would be like the tail of it. So to me, this is overall one shape. When you see this hot pink, and this paler peach champagne color pink is another separate craft. So I'm going to toggle back and forth so you can see what I'm seeing. So that's the original. Then we see, okay, there's really something more that meets the eye here. And then we've got this. So see if you agree, or see if you see yet again something else. This is all open for discussion. Okay. All right, now, this is similar in the fact that there's such heavy particulate going on in this scene, But yet I still could pick out with the naked eye that we have a pure, free and clear, perfect triangular peak here, and another one here. So we have a straight edge here, straight edge coming up here and down again. So I thought, oh, we've got maybe two independent triangular pieces or craft cloaking back in there. But then I started to see detected a little bit of patternings going on in different ways. So with enhancement, still see this, that's a very clear triangular form. But then I started to pick out a little bit more. So it started to me to look like, wait a minute, these look like almost like a manta ray. The top of a manta ray moving along when its wings curl up at the edges, or a stingray, that's what it reminded me of if this is the front of a craft. So when you look at it that way, this is what you get. So to me, this is the side of a wing flared up and another wing, and this would be the top of the deck. And there even seemed to be a very rigid geometry here, as I have in the darker red-orange. So I'm going to go back up, so maybe you see it too. Again, the side wing, another wing flared up, top of a deck. Because look at this is that notch out. You see that these grooves, and then if you put it up on a big enough screen, you'll see this looks like the front of a craft. So that's what I'm doing here. And actually, look in the background. This looks like another craft with cloaking material in front of it. Looks like what do I want to say? Looks like a spear tip or something, in shape. It looks like something's dragging off of the back of it. See what you see. All right, now this is really strange. This is a little bit bitmappy or blurry, but look at it's just because it was getting dark and my camera phone can only pick up so much when it gets dark. So it's limited that way. But anyway, look at the lower scene. It's a little distorted because it's a panorama. And, but just weird kind of, I just want to say it's like speckled or splashed with weird artificial type of puffs. It's not even cloud. And then it looked like there was a bigger form happening beyond. And anyway, look up at the top for the enhanced version. We really get a sense. It looks like somebody threw mud on a windshield of a car. And then here at C.1, we start to see a triangular form. If you look at the inside as a void, you see these darker pieces creating the outline of a triangle. I'll go there. You see it. See what I'm seeing. I'm going to go back. That's what I'm seeing. Okay? This even, looks oval or ellipsoidal. Looks like a form with cloaking material in front of it as well. So here I just want to say, hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Had to clear my voice. Here I just want to say that this is an example where I think there's some bigger mothership, if you will, craft perched on the cloud, hiding in the background. And then you got multiple little craft and things like floating in front of it. And then this is all perfect camouflage, so you can't see what's really going on. That's what I'm going to say. See what you see in there, though. All right. Well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. I want to say thanks for digging into this stuff here a while. And this is just another example. I'm going to quote the Star Wars movie, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who says, "Your eyes can deceive you, don't trust them." And this is a perfect classic case of that, where we have a quote-unquote hamburger, but oh no, it's a cake. So anyway, I came into that. I was very happy to receive this cake and share it with others. So I will just close on this. So thank you for being here, and I wish you, as always, tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.